Hey, hi all. Welcome back to BLR Knowledge Center. In this today's session, we'll talk about reflection in C Sharp. So, what is reflection in C Sharp, and so where we need to use this reflection concept in C Sharp for developing projects. So, in C Sharp, reflection is a process to get metadata of a type at runtime, and we need to import or use system.reflection namespace, which contains the required classes for a reflection. So if you wanted to get kind of properties and methods inside of your library or an assembly, so you need to use a reflection here. So if you look at the system.reflection namespace, so where it contains the required namespaces and classes. So in C sharp, so reflection provides so kind of objects that describes assemblies, modules, and types. So you can use reflection to dynamically create an instance of a type and to bind the type to an existing objects, or to get the type from an existing object and invoke its methods or access its fields or properties. If you go back to my notepad here, I'll describe you some of the fields and kind of types which actually will get it from the object using reflection. So there are type of kind of library you will get it, and member information, right, and construction information, and also you will get method info and field info and type info. Also you will get it, what kind of type you are using are used in your no method declaration or field declaration inside of your class, and event info, that means what kind of events you have written in your class, and module and assembly, and assembly name, etc. Okay, so these are the couple of the things which you will retrieve using this reflection from a certain specified object or class instance. Okay, so to get all this stuff from your specified library, you have to use system.reflection. This is the namespace we need to use it, which will contains uh, the required classes um, for reflection, such as above, right? So we'll quickly get into this demonstration part here. We'll take in the console application. We'll see like how it is, using a reflection to get the above fields using reflection. Okay. So now we are going to write some sample application. I'm just opening my, console application. Here it is, like a reflection sample demo. This basically having a program.cs. That's how it is creating in latest Visual Studio for console application, right? So by default, it has a console.write line. So where it having this is console application and this is .NET 6.0. That is what the latest version which Microsoft has been released. And in this, I just added console.write line content, or this caption was, "Hello, welcome to C Sharp Reflection demo," right? So once, and this reflection also by default not going to be added. So you need to add this if you want to use reflection, right? Okay. When I run this, so you will simply get this content or the text which you have mentioned here, like "Hello, welcome to C Sharp Reflection," right? This is how the console application is working straight away. So once you add this reflection, sorry, this console application, and next thing is we'll try to add a class library here. So I'll go to the same solution. So I'll add a class library here, like I think new project, and I'll choose class library. Okay, so I'll click on next, and I'll give this as something, or you leave as it is, or if you wanted to give any name, you can give it demo class library, right? Um, that's fine, I think. So click on next. and I'll choose same framework here and I'll click on create. Then it is going to be created a class with class1.cs. Right. So in this class, no, I'm going to define the required stuff here. So my namespace I have given as demo class library, and this is what the class name. If you wanted to change this to class name, you can change it. No worries. I'm going to change it like CL is reflection right demo. Then it is going to change it here also, right? Now here I'm going to define some members like our fields, kind of public int x, and I'll declare private int y, right? And also I can declare another variable public int, yeah. These are my global variables, and then I'll define my property methods here. Public int, this is the property one of get and set, and similarly property 2. Okay, and I'll define a method here, a kind of public void. I'll say like function one, so where it returns something called console dot. Okay, and I'll say like function one is invoked. That's something like that. And if you want, you can give whatever text you want inside of this. Okay, and similarly I'll create another method, public void function 2, and inside of this I'll say console dot write line of function 2 is invoked, right? So now this is what my class looks like, right? So I'm building this, and my DLL is being created in this particular path. Just make a note and just copy this path, so that will use this reflection using this DLL. Now, so after building this is copying into zones of bin debug and framework folder, this library. Now what I'm going to do was I'll remove this. If you want, you can remove this project itself, because I need only DLL, because using the DLL I'm going to apply reflection this concept here, right? So now what we need to do is we need to display the properties and methods and variables of the this demo class library assembly using a reflection, right? So to get the type of an object, so first we need to get the reference of an assembly, right? So what I will do is I'll add a reference here. I think I'll add demo class library, right? So now once you add this reference, or you go back to your let us say like add project reference. So I'll remove this. I'll browse from the bin folder, right? This is where it is creating. I'll use this. Okay, I think for this shake of no this clarity, I'm going to remove this class. No need this class anymore, because I have a reference here and I no need any kind of stuff here. So uh, to get the type of this thing, I just added a class reference into my console application, and then I just using this namespace. Now to load an assembly, so we have to use assembly.load file, right? This is what assembly.load file, and this is what we need to use this method to load and provide all the types inside of your class. So for this method, we need to provide a assembly path, which you have already copied it. So what you need to do is you just copy paste this demo class library dot DLL, right? I think this we can give it. Right, I'm just using the DLL, not an actual project here. And then once you load this assembly into this file, okay, I'll assign it to something, a variable called myAssembly, so that it will hold my loaded assembly object here. Once you get the reference for the assembly, so the next step is to get the class reference. What it means, you get the assembly reference here. From that assembly reference, you need to get the class reference. For this, we need to call getType, right? So where my type equal to my assembly, which I have been already stored, get type of, okay. I'm going to use demo class library dot what the class name I given it. Did you remember that? Okay, I think we have given reflection demo, something like that. Reflection demo class, right? So this is what the class inside of it. I'll get the type and store into my variable. So once you get the type of an object, then so you need to create an instance of that type. So to create an instance dynamically, so we used to use activator create instance a method, right? So how to use that? So and once you get this, okay, let me go back. Okay. Coming to here, where my type already we have taken it. Now we have to create an instance of a type, right? So I'll use dynamic keyword and we'll explain in the later sessions like difference between var and dynamic. My object equal to, and here already created my type, right? I think we can directly use it. Activator dot create instance of my type. So which I already hold that type in the above line of statement, right? So once you create an instance, then we'll get the parameters using type parameter type equal to my object dot get type. So that it will get you the parameter type. So now we'll see like what are the fields available inside it. So for each member info, I think member info in parameter parameter type sorry parameter type dot get fields, right? And then closing here, and I'll write down console dot write line of member info dot name, so that it will display the name, right? So once it is done, we'll see like how it looks like. This is all about uh, uh, getting off all fields or variables, right? And this is first one is for loading an assembly. Load assembly, and second one is to hold type of the class reference, and this is something I think create an instance of type. And this is to get the type and get the type of the class, and these are the fields. Now when you run this, this is fine. What is the problem? Value cannot be null. Okay, activator create instance my type. Okay, I think we must make sure that this class name was correct or not. So going back to here, and we need to check that whether we have given the same class or not. Demo class library, but inside of that, what was the name we have mentioned it? Not sure. No issues. So I will go back to that location where it is. So you are, I think, demo class, and inside of this class, I think CLS reflection demo. This is where the name we have changed, right? So we'll use that same thing here. And I'm just closing, and this is the class name we have provided, right? And now build and try to spin this application. And now if we can look at here, I'll see, oh, member information. Let me try again now. If you can see here, X and Y was, you know, printed here. If you go back to your original class, if you have, uh, or else you will, look at the bin folder. So this is what the library, right? If you can open with some .peak or not reflection assembly tool, and you will see what are all the classes you have been inside of library, and what are the fields, all these things you can see, right? That's using some open source. And let me check that, and so that you will know like what all things are being created as public. So if I open this, right, I think this is what the class name we are created, and the x y y. So if you look at here, y, and clicking on y, I think you will see what is this. So we have created x and y as a public, and private was y. So by default, when you use member info, right, this thing, member info.name, it will only fetch the public fields, okay, but not the private fields. Okay, so it only displays the public fields and not private. So in this, class where we have created here, we have only a and x are the public variables. Hence, it is showing only, x and y, right? What's happening? Yeah, only you can see x and y, right? And similar way, if you want to get a public methods, so what you need to do is like getting off all uh, public methods. The same way, I think for each, I think you can write this. Public fields. All public fields is all this. And now you can see console dot write line of all public methods, right? So for each of member info, member info, member info in parameter type dot get methods, as we use get fields here, right? And to get the methods, we use get fields console dot write line of um, member info dot name. So when you run this and see, so if you run this, these are the public fields, right? This is what the statement initially is displaying, and then all public fields, right? This is what all public fields. Inside you will see XCI, and now you will see public methods here. So property one and property two, I think get and set 4 times it is displaying, and function one and function two, it is displaying along that get type and toString equals get hash. These also by default it will showcase you, right? So this is how it is displaying it here. So to get the fields, we used get fields. I think get fields it returns all the public fields of the current system type. And to get the methods, we used the get methods. I think it is returns all the public methods of the current system dot type. And member info, it all returns all the public member of the current system type. So anyway, that's what the main purpose of having it. If you want to return the properties, I think you again go back and write it sample. So console dot right line of all public properties. This how it is returning is again I think getting of all public properties, right? For each of member info in same parameter type dot. Now we'll use get properties, and it will give you the all properties here. So console dot right line of same thing. I think member info dot name. Okay, so if you build this and run, you will get members as well. So these are the public properties. Right now we have P1 and P2, and these are the public fields, and these are the public methods. So this is how we are going to, read all the types and fields and properties and methods from your, a library using reflection. So this is dynamically we are getting it, and we are not having any physical stuff here. So now we'll see like how to invoke a method dynamically using reflection. That's what the main purpose of using a reflection in C#. So how to invoke a method, right? So apart from all these stuff, right? Now I want to invoke a method here. So to invoke a method, so right, we have to use invoke member as a method from the parameter type class. So we have already created parameter type here, right? So using that, we'll invoke it. Uh, invoking invoke a method or a function dynamically using a reflection. Now, so already we have created a parameter type, right? So we'll use that parameter type dot invoke member, right? Of, so it has some syntax. So you must specify the method name. I'm specifying my method name was function one, and binding flags you need to set it whether it is a public or something. For now, I'm setting this as a public. Okay. And another thing was or I think binding flags dot invoke method or binding flags dot instance, and this is null, and I'm going to give next parameter as an object. So here my object was my object, that's what my created, and again null. So this is what the syntax of creating or invoking a member from your class library. So if you look at here, I think as I have been told you, so I have created two functions here, right? Function 1 and function 2, both are public. Now this function, I'm going to invoke it here programmatically, right? Go back to this solution here. Now build your console application and try to spin this. So now if you look at here, I don't know. Yeah. So this is how it is invoking, right? I think we have told that console message as, function one is invoked. Sorry, spelling mistake. So once it is invoked, it is displaying a console, right line as function one is invoked. So that's how it is output is coming. That's how we are, calling a method from the console application dynamically. Sorry, library from the class calling in the console application using reflection. So if you look at here, a couple of things we need to again summarize here. One thing is this is what we need to load an assembly using this assembly.load file. And secondly, we need to create a type. That means a reference to the library. And then we need to create instance. And then we need to get the types from that instance. So what are the types you have created inside of your class library, like properties, methods, and fields, right? And this is how you need to read a public fields, and this is how you need to read a public methods, and this is how you need to read a public properties. Now this is the syntax of invoking or calling a function one or function two. If you want to invoke a function two, I think you need to write function two, right? And you just run this application, then you will see a function two is invoked. Okay, so what are the real-time uses of reflection in C#? That's I think we need to discuss here. So real-time uses of reflection in C#. When you talk about the purpose and the real-time scenarios of this, so I'll tell you, if you are creating an application like Visual Studio Editors, where you want to show some internal details like metadata of any object using intelligence feature, then you choose a reflection. So basically, if you look at here in this, Visual Studio console application, when I type something console dot, it is showing you so many methods inside of this, right? This is nothing but a reflection. That means from the console, system.console, so it is going to display all public fields and properties and methods. That's how it is happening it. So if you wanted to have this kind of nature to your library, so go for this creating reflection kind of stuff. And in your testing, sometimes we need to invoke private methods to test whether the private members are working properly or not. Then you choose a reflection. Sometimes we would like to dump properties, methods, and assembly references to a file, probably to show it on screen. Then we must use reflection. So late binding can also be achieved using reflection C#. So we can use reflection to dynamically create an instance of a type about which we don't have any information at compile time. That's what we have done right now so far. So we don't know what inside of your library, but using that library, we have been retrieved all the public stuff and invoked methods, right? So that's what the reflection enables. so as to use a code that is not available at a compile time. So I think if we can talk more on that, consider an example where we have two alternate implementations of an interface. So you want to allow a user to pick one or the other using a config file with reflection. You can simply read the name of the class whose implementation you want to use from the config file and instantiate an instance of that class, right? That's how it is using reflection. This is another example of late binding using reflection. So a reflection is used to find all types in an assembly and dynamically invoke a method in an assembly. That's what the basic purpose of using reflection. It includes information about the type, properties, methods, and events of an object, right? So with reflection, so we can dynamically create an instance of a type and bind the type of an existing object, or and you can get the type from an existing object and invoke it related methods or access it fields and properties inside of your class library. So these are the real-time scenarios or uses of reflection. So you want to use it in your projects. Only thing was if you wanted to dynamically interact or access your library without having any information inside of class library. So this reflection is going to helpful for the developer. So this is all about a reflection and the purpose of reflection in C Sharp. So thanks for listening to this video, and please subscribe this channel for more videos. Thank you.